My name is Susan Harvey. I'm an Associate Professor of Community Health in the Department of Health, Sport, and Exercise Sciences. I've been here in this position since 2015. I graduated with my PhD from KU and left for a few years and did a postdoc fellowship at the University of Kansas Med Center in the Department of Internal Medicine. And then I came back as a research associate with the School of Education, and when this position opened up, I applied for it and was lucky enough to get it. This semester I teach one of my favorites. It's one student's always moaned and groaned about, but I get them to love it by the end of the semester. It's called Program Assessment Evaluation. And so we do lots of fun projects in that class. Another one that I usually teach is health behavior theory. And then sometimes I oversee our interns, sometimes I teach grad classes, but usually they're community-based courses that I teach. So I'm interested in community food security as well as improving individual food security. And the way that I focus on that is looking at the environment and how we can cut back on food waste, as well as promote food recovery from organizations, households, restaurants, grocery stores. Also really looking at our built environment and how we can tap into community gardens and other resources like that to promote food security. I think during the pandemic we learned a lot of lessons about how we have a weak food system and how we really need to strengthen that in case we ever have another pandemic like we did. Last year we spent some time doing a food waste study at the high schools here in Lawrence. And we noticed that there was a lot of food that was being thrown away, and it was perfectly edible food. It was whole apples, it was whole oranges, it was milk cartons, it was sandwiches, it was bags of chips. And so for 1 week we looked to see what that food waste looked like and how much was going into the trash, and this was perfectly edible food. And then the next week we designed a really simple intervention where instead of throwing it away, they could put it into a box if it was unopened. So any of those whole fruits and vegetables, bags of chips, bags of sandwiches that were unopened, instead of going into the landfill, could it possibly go towards helping their fellow students? And we saw a huge momentum shift as far as less waste being thrown away and more food actually being donated to serve purposes along with their fellow peers, or to go towards track was in season, and so the coaches wanted to take the milk as a protein source for their students. So that was a really exciting study, and just to see the shift and change of food that would have gone to landfill now being used to promote food security within the school. We are really lucky in, our three areas of focus are research, teaching, and service. And even though those seem like really distinct areas, they blend really well together. They bleed into each other. And so I really get to do what I love every day, and that's teaching and working and mentoring with students and learning from them, but also researching my passion in a fun way. And that's looking at how do we reduce food waste, how do we promote food security. So I get to do really exciting work every day. I get to work with really exciting people. That's my students, my community partners, and I have great colleagues as well. Most of my family is Iowa Staters or Iowa Hawkeyes, but my dad had a good friend that actually went to KU, and he had come to visit his friend while he was here and fell in love with the university. And so he always kind of pushed me away from Iowa State and University of Iowa, and always thought that this would be a good fit for me. I started out at a small school doing my undergrad at Northwest Missouri State. I was there under a tennis scholarship, and then got injured, and that's where I kind of followed what my dad wanted me to do, and I came to KU for my undergraduate. Left after I got my undergraduate, and then came back and got my master's and my PhD at KU too. So I'm full in. I'm a bleeding Jayhawk. I have 2 daughters and a husband. My daughters are 10 and 6. They're a lot of fun, and while they still like me, we try to do as much as we can. So we're big outdoor people. We have a camper. We go camping as much as we possibly can. We go to Colorado. We're, when it snows, we're out in the snow, snowboarding and playing in the snow. When it's nice outside, we're at the lake. swimming, rafting, canoeing, camping. So anything that I get to do with my family. We also have 2 golden retrievers that are like our children too. They're part of the family. And so anything that I can do with my family, that's what I love to do outside of work. It's something that always creeped people out. I sleep with my eyes half open, half closed, half open, however you want to put it. And so nobody could play tricks on me when I was a kid at slumber parties. But it always creeped people out because they didn't know if I was awake or if I was asleep. And I always thought it was kind of something cool and unique about me. But my oldest daughter also inherited that trait from me. And now I can kind of see where people think it's creepy because I look at her and I'm like, is she looking at me or is she really asleep? So I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it's something unique about me.